Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 28th of November 2018. So welcome everyone, welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay guys, so now then let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on is Nikkei. Now I was talking about this one last week and I was basically mentioning this this downside resistance line here, the very short term, of course, the taken from the 2nd of October, the peak of the 2nd of October. So we managed to break it nicely to the upside. So now we can, this is by the way the arrow from then. I mean, I was talking about this potential level here. If we get a nice break above the 21,920 zone, we could then target the of course initially we'll target the 200 EMA, which also kind of collides here with the 50 EMA, looking at this daily chart, of course. But we do have this level here, the 22,310 approximately there. Now this is the one we're going to keep an eye on, because if that gets broken, certainly we could see a move further up here. The kind of the gateway could be this towards the higher level here. So the higher level that we will be monitoring carefully will be the 22,585 zone approximately there, which was near the high of the 8th of November. So quite an important level here. The only thing is that probably this arrow here, it will be a little bit misleading, because if this continues to push higher here, we could in a way see the price stalling near that level, near this 22,585 initially, of course, until kind of the bulls and the bears figure out who's going to take the driver's seat from here. If of course the bulls remain in the driver's seat, then yep, further acceleration is possible here towards the this little area here around the 23,050 zone. Now the 23,050 kind of, this is the throughout probably the whole of this year I was talking about this level, and it's quite an important one. Of course, just slightly below that we do have this psychological 23,000 itself, but the 23,050 kind of, it continued to act as a very nice area of resistance here. So yep, for now guys, of course, keep your eyes on that one, but again, only if we see this further acceleration here above the 22,310 level initially, and then if the 22,585 level fails to kind of withhold the bull pressure here, and then we'll consider this level again. But like I said, just kind of wanted to point it out to you guys, just so that you would know this is quite an important one for this year especially. And of course, not far from there we do have this this medium-term upside support line here that was broken here in October, but we could in a way get back and test that one from underneath. So keep your eyes on that one. So for now, what I can say here is that, yep, be very careful. First, watch the 22,310 level. Of course, we'll keep an eye on this 200 EMA. Now, this is where the scenario for the bears could be if this continues to hold, for example, or even if the 22,585 level continues to hold. We could see maybe a reversal here, back down. And what's going to be interesting here, certainly we do have this little now starting to form this little short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 26th of October. Still, it's a very tentative one. Now if we get a rejection here near this high here, and then we see a drop further down, we could in a way maybe get back towards this area, maybe even towards this upside line here, but again, this is just an idea for now. This is just something for you to keep an eye on. At the moment, judging from this picture, it seems that it wants to continue pushing higher. So let's see how that plays out. Let's see. Another thing to kind of to mention here as well, another idea here, just it's something again for you guys to well probably can confuse you a little bit, but nevertheless also could be an idea if, for example, if we would if the price would stall around here and reverse back down from around this 200 EMA or even the 22,310 level, we could in a way see something like this forming here, maybe a triangle. So but then again, it's too early even to kind of assume that, because like I said, it's still kind of pushing higher here, but we need to see that rejection first in order to kind of assume that idea. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. It's a very interesting index. Let's see how that plays out. Jumping into DXY. Now DXY continues to push higher nicely above this short-term upside support line, and looking at this daily chart, it seems that it's very strong right now. Continues to aim for the highs here that we had around the 97.70 level, which are the highs of the 12th of November. So in a way, this could be our target, our next target, if this continues to push further up here, continues to, let's say, for example, to break the yesterday's highs near the 97.50. But just let me jump into a 4-hour chart on this one, and let's see how that's performing right now. So you can see that this level here, the 97.40 level. Now I was talking about this one previously, and I was talking about this area here. It kind of you can see that it acted as a nice area of resistance until right now. You can see this 4-hour candle right now is trying to push back above it. Certainly the momentum is still to the upside. We could in a way travel further up here towards the R1 here, but if this continues to push higher, then yeah, we are keeping a close eye on the 97.70 zone, because that was near the highs of the 12th of November. On the downside, let's say if this fails to let's say to remain above the 97.40 level, especially today, then maybe we could see a bit of a correction here back down. And of course, still we're keeping a close eye on this this upside support line, this short-term upside support line that I just recently mentioned. And let's say if this index today, let's say, drops below the pivot here, and we could maybe see a further slide down, at least towards the S1 here, near the 97.05 level, which is also the this inside swing low here of yesterday. But if that doesn't hold, further depreciation of the price could be possible. But for now, guys, certainly it's looking more bullish than bearish. So keep your eyes on the on this little area here at around 97.40. Let's see how that performs today, especially. Now looking at a few pairs now. So this one is a very interesting one. I was talking about the AUDCAD in one of my videos in the recent past, and I was telling you guys to keep an eye on this kind of a short-term upside support line slash well, just a line basically. So in a way, for now it seems that the pair is continuing to push higher. For us to, let's say, get more comfortable with higher levels in the longer run, we would need to see a nice good push here above these highs here that we saw in the beginning, in the first half of November and around mid-November, and that's approximately around the 0.9655 area, 54, 55, something like that. So continue monitoring that, and especially, like I said, you can see that we do have the R2 here near these highs. So in a way, this could be the gateway here. If the pair continues to push higher and breaks this this level here, this could be that gateway towards the higher levels, and the next potential area of resistance could be near the 0.9705, which was marked here. Let me just go back into history here. marked by the high of the 8th of August. So keep your eyes on this one. The only thing is for you to kind of still kind of be a little bit worried is this, like I said, is this upside support, well, upside support line, yes, and we are currently kind of testing that one from underneath. So in order to kind of assume higher levels, we need to kind of see a nice good push above that first. Not only these, I mean, but the first point kind of for aiming higher is a nice good push above this line. If it continues to hold like this, I mean, we could see maybe a reversal back down here, but for us to get, let's say, comfortable with looking at lower levels here, at least from the short-term perspective, we would need to see a nice good drop here below the this area around here, the 0.9596, something like that, approximately there. You can see that it also coincides here with the with the pivot here. So this level also acted as a nice inside swing here on the 26th of November, or should I maybe reiterate that a little bit, the high of the 26th of November. So a nice good drop below that could potentially open the path towards the 0.9540, which also you can see that held the rate from dropping further down here in November, in the mid-November, of course. So something like this could be possible. For now, continue observing it. I mean, it's too early to jump in here. We need to see that nice good confirmation break either to the upside here or the downside around here, around the 0.9596, something like that. Jumping into GBPUSD. So this one yesterday sold off, and we still the whole kind of outlook around it remains somewhat negative, but the only thing is you can see that the pair dropped here towards this little support level around the 127.20 zone, and which was marked here by the lows of the 15th of November. So from this one, kind of now it's trying to rebound back to the upside. The only thing is already had a nice push, but got held here by this the 127.65 zone, also, which was the nice good area of support here around the 21st of November. So kind of right now it acted as a nice area of resistance. Also, it coincides with the pivot. So for us, basically, what we're going to keep on monitoring here is, of course, on the upside from the very short-term perspective, a nice good push above this 127.65 could potentially open the path towards a little bit higher level here, which also kind of was a nice area of resistance, only about 10 pips higher. Nevertheless, I mean, for those who are more on the cautious side, you could in a way wait until we get a nice push above that, above that level, and then we'll aim for higher levels like the 27.95, or even actually going all the way higher here towards this short-term downside resistance line taken from the 7th of November. In a way, let me just actually put an arrow here just for our future reference, or even better, actually, for those who are very conservative traders here, you could in a way wait until this gets back above the 127.95 and then kind of target the higher levels, at least from the short-term perspective. On the downside, well, you probably understand that if we get a nice break here below the 127.20, this is where it could become more interesting for the, oh, there we go, this is where it could become more interesting for the, sorry, my arrow is going crazy here a little bit. So for the bears, I cannot finish my sentence here. This is where it could be, like I said, interesting for the bears, because a drop below the 127.20 could open the path towards another very strong potential area of support near the 126.95, which was the lowest point of October here. Now this is of course where the rate could stall, but if this fails to hold, then yep, further declines are possible, and the one that we're going to be keeping an eye on is the 126.60. Now the 126.60, going back here, back into history here, you can see that was the lowest point of August this year, from which kind of the pair reversed nicely to the upside and continued pushing higher up until the 20th of September. So for now guys, be very careful here. It's a very tricky spot because, like I said, it does have an opportunity to retrace back up here, given that we are not far from this very strong area of support. But if this fails to continue to hold, then yep, further declines are possible towards the levels that I just mentioned. USDJPY, the last pair for this session, and continues to push nicely. So I was talking about this one in one of my previous videos this week. I was telling you about to keep an eye on this low level here, the around the 113.65, had a nice push, and now this is the, as you can see by the arrow that I've got here, we could see something like this. Basically we could see maybe a bit of a decline back down here, and then another push higher towards this little downside resistance line taken from the peak of the 3rd of October. We could see in a way a test of that area. So yep, be very cautious here. We are quite overextended here, especially looking at this 4-hour chart. We are quite overextended here to the upside, but nevertheless it could still have a bit of gunpowder left in it, and could travel a little bit higher here towards the test of this downside resistance line. But also, like I said, don't exclude this scenario where we could see maybe a bit of a decline here, back down towards the pivot, towards this 113.65 level, and then rebound and move higher again. So the only thing is, if we start breaking into the downside, certainly we could see a bit of a slide here lower, maybe towards the 113.38. But if that doesn't hold, yep, we probably could continue traveling further down here, and this is where we could test this little very short-term, very tentative, I would probably say, upside support line here, taken from the low of the 20th of November. So very interesting pair, guys. Very interesting developments here, and let's see how that performs, how that plays out. Yep, I hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and I hope you make a lot of pips today. So yeah, thank you very much. See you later. Please join me later on at my traders tea time at 14:15 GMT time. Bye bye.